We just finally made it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Supernatural Eye. My name is Francesca Garcia. I'm your lead host and investigator of the show. I'm here to announce episode 5. We're here to discuss the one and only Lumber Baron Inn in Denver, Colorado. Funny thing, initially we were supposed to investigate the Stanley Hotel, as we already know what the Stanley Hotel is about. Unfortunately, they canceled on me due to a salmon festival. I said that correctly, a salmon festival. Apparently salmon is very popular in Colorado, but that's okay. So I still have unfinished business, definitely for Colorado, and I'll explain it later on during the segment. But for sure, Stanley Hotel, you're not forgotten. We will investigate you. I'm not going to harp on that. So moving forward, we're here to discuss the one and only Lumber Baron Inn. And if you haven't heard of it, then I will explain a little bit further. It is located in Denver, Colorado. And the weather was fantastic because, well, I mean, I don't know what you would consider fantastic. For me, it was awesome because it was a nice change from Florida weather. But we went around March 2016, and it was a little chilly. It wasn't snowing or anything, but it was definitely some cool, like eerie, weather going on. So it kind of fit well with the scenery. Crew members on this episode was myself, Zach Malen, Megan McDevitt, and Tyler Bishop. So we all went together and investigated this haunted inn. So this 8,500 square foot mansion was built in 1980 by John Mowatts or something like that, if I'm saying that correctly. He was a Scottish immigrant who had invested a fortune on lumber. And that's why, hence, it's called the Lumber Baron Inn. And each room, it was so beautiful. It's like this Victorian built mansion, and each room had some fine detail of art. Almost kind of reminded me a little bit of the Winchester Mystery House, like how the interior decor was. And it featured just different types of architecture and wood, such as cherry, oak, and many more types of wood. The third floor, I recall, was called the ballroom, and that's where he hosted his lavish parties, and he built this mansion. At the time, it was like a nice mansion around the block, and the nicest one in the block, actually, the biggest, nicest house. And he built this strong mansion for his wife, and I think he had like 3 or 2 kids or something like that. As time passed on, the building was passed down through numerous hands. The most notorious headlines, and especially during the Denver Times, it was in the 1970s. 2 teenage females were tragically murdered in the haunted mansion. First was the 17-year-old girl who was living actually in the building. And during this time, actually in the 1970s, let me take that back, this was like a rundown building. So it's pretty much like a rundown like apartments of, cheap living, or sometimes even homeless people snuck in, crackheads, you name it, drug addicts. So it just wasn't the best area to live at the time during Denver, or in Denver, I meant to say. And this 17-year-old girl, she was living in this building. She was brutally raped and strangled to death. Shortly afterwards, her 18-year-old friend was pretty much at the wrong time, wrong place, and she stumbled upon the murder. And when he saw her, he shot her to death. Till this day, it's an unsolved case, so they have not found the murder. So hence why hauntings occur at the Lumber Baron Inn. They say that there's more than just these 2 female spirits, that also the Watts, if I'm saying that last name correctly, correct me if I'm not, that their family members may haunt the inn as well. But most notoriously reported from other paranormal investigators that have also investigated this inn, have kept in contact or made EVP sessions apparently with these 2 females that were brutally murdered at the inn or the mansion. In the 1990s, it was in bad shape, so the city condemned it. And in 1991, it was saved and restored by Walter and Julie Keller. So that is a little bit of the history of the Lumber Baron Inn. And till this day, it is a bed and breakfast. So you can stay the night there and enjoy the hauntings at the Lumber Baron Inn. Now we're going to discuss the narrative, what occurred at our investigation. But first things first, I wanted to mention that we went on this like haunted pub crawl, like this drinking pub crawl. And of course, since Stanley Hotel canceled out, I need to step up my game and plan this event that I was doing for the paranormal out for my friends, because of course I have to drag my friends to everything. So to make this cool, I was like, I want to kind of keep them intrigued since we can't do the Stanley Hotel. Let's do like a drinking pub crawl. Obviously, you learn. I would never, ever, ever suggest drinking before an investigation. Don't ever drink. Definitely don't ever do drugs during an investigation or before. Never do that, because you want to have your clear sense. But obviously you learn as you mature and throughout time. But I didn't think I was going to get super plastered, in other words, which is, we'll explain that later. But we went on this haunted pub crawl tour that they actually offered at Denver, Colorado, and they take you to these like bars in Denver that's haunted, and you take like a beer at each pub that you visit or something. They tell you the history and the hauntings, and it was pretty cool. It was actually very knowledgeable and historical. But one thing I suggest, if you're going to do something like that, you definitely want to plan it out on a separate date of your actual serious paranormal investigation, if you're planning to do a paranormal investigation, because that's more of a ghost tour kind of thing, or a drinking ghost tour. So I thought it was cool to plan that before the actual investigation, which was a big no-no. And as you can imagine, we all got drunk before the investigation. So just to give you an idea of my walking shame look, here's a clip of my embarrassment of an investigation. Honestly, yeah, let's just take a look real quick. Yeah, obviously looking back at that, it's extremely embarrassing. Never ever would I do that again, and highly don't suggest anybody drinking before an investigation. Definitely you want to be in your clear sense and be sober. And again, I'm not saying you can't do that, just know to do it at a different day. I definitely take investigation seriously, and you learn, so you can't harp on it. But yeah, definitely want to go clear-minded with the clear sense, so you can use your senses and know if what you're capturing is legit or not. But again, you learn. So in my opinion, I don't think that night was very active. We didn't capture a lot of evidence, and of course my mind was at that foggy state. It wasn't very clear, so I even forgot to even do some EVP sessions, which I was very disappointed in myself. But I did do some EMF sweeps. As you can see, I used my Ovilus. I think the Ovilus like witch came out, and also empath. So I don't know if somebody was trying to call me a witch, or maybe they were upset with me, or who knows. But yes, definitely I am an empath. So that was pretty cool that spit that out at least. And yeah, so that was that. But in reality, it wasn't very active that night. And the way I see it, I'm not saying that it's not haunted. It could be a very haunted location. I just don't think, it's like fishing in a way for location. It's like sometimes it's a hit and miss. You don't know what you're going to get. Or sometimes it can be very active, sometimes it's not. And honestly, I don't blame the spirits that night if they don't want to interact with us, because we were drunk fools, and they're probably laughing at us, if anything, like, what the heck are these people wasting our time? So I felt really embarrassed. Again, don't do it. Don't drink before an investigation. I'm warning you. So yeah, also it's just kind of disrespectful to the spirits too. So that's why I feel like they weren't very interactive. So again, don't blame them, but I definitely want to go back to pay my respects and hopefully capture some evidence and see if I can help these girls out and communicate and see if we can solve their, murder case and get this case solved, in other words. But we'll see what the future brings. In the meantime, what I decided to do is, I asked my friend Tyler for permission to see if I can record ourselves while we sleep, because my most vulnerable state is while I sleep. And for some reason, shit always happens to me while I sleep. So I don't know why. But I decided to record ourselves and he allowed me. So I ended up just doing that, hoping I captured some evidence because I already knew I was not going to get anything with the way I was handling the investigation earlier throughout that night. So far, I am sad to announce that nothing was captured. Sure, there was some dust particles and maybe some, bugs flying around. So I wouldn't call them orbs. And I can explain the distinction between orbs and these dust particles. So that's the only thing unusual that I saw. Also, like in the mirror, I got myself psyched out because I saw like this flashing red light, or like I thought, I'm like, what is this, a red orb? And obviously that is, something serious that you can look into, that it's not a dust particle or whatever you want to call it. And happens to be that I forgot there was a mirror there on the side that's reflecting off my GoPro camera. So that was debunked. But nothing was captured sadly that night, even while I was sleeping. So again, it just wasn't an active night for us. So nothing we have captured in our paranormal investigation, I'm sad to say. But again, not everything that you go to, you'll capture things. You just have to try the hardest. Again, it's like fishing. So I do want to explain the difference between these orbs of what people would consider orbs, like a legit orb, compared to dust particles. Again, I did not capture any orbs on this investigation, nor I don't think I captured any paranormal activity. But I did want to show the difference. So I'm going to play this little video clip of what these dust particles are, and to see the confusion of why people would call them orbs. So let's go ahead and show that clip real quick. As you can see, nothing was captured. So a lot of people would think that these are legit orbs, but they're not. They're actually dust particles. And there's a lot of confusion with dust particles and, legit orbs. And I wanted to bring this video up because you guys are probably thinking, like, why are you wasting my time? Like, if you did not capture anything, why are you showing this video? And the reason why, it's because I definitely want to bring it out to the public that sometimes when people post these orb videos, that it's very misleading, and it's not legit orbs. So I would say like 95% of these orb videos are dust particles, actually. And I'm not hating on orbs. I'm not saying that orbs are not real. I have psychics that have told me and argued this out, that, orbs are real, and there's a difference between the definedness of it. It's more like a defined inner ring. And you can see, like, in the middle of it, there's like a type of, or I don't know, something that they explained. They said that the colors are very compelling. So if there's a different, like, not your basic like white orb, that's definitely a dust particle, but like there's different colors like red, orange, and they say that's like a reflection of the auras of like the human, like, aura chakras, like an angry spirit, happy spirit, whatever it is. Now, the scientists will, argue with that and say not really, because it could be a reflection of like fabric. For instance, like if I'm wearing this and there's like a red orb, that could be a reflection of that with some lighting. Definitely, if you have flash cameras, flash create that type of, delusion. So definitely, you have to be very careful when you analyze orbs. Definitely want to be very critical of it. So I just wanted to bring that point out, because the majority of the time when these orbs are captured, they're not really orbs. And I hate to say that. But again, I'm not saying that orbs are not real, because I know that I have psychic friends that have seen orbs for themselves. And I actually have people that said, no, I've actually seen orbs myself in live, whether if I capture it on camera or not, I've seen it myself. And sometimes it is captured on camera, so I can't argue out with that type of stuff, even though I do, I am very critical when I hear these things. But I definitely wanted to point that video out because I think it's very... So anyways, that pretty much wraps up episode 5. The Lumber Baron Inn in Denver, Colorado. Even though it wasn't very active for us and we didn't capture any paranormal evidence, I'm not saying that the inn is haunted. I, as an empath, felt like vibes there for sure. I felt like it was definitely, that just dense feeling. Definitely that eerie, lonely, just kind of like dark feeling, especially in the room that the female was murdered. I did not stay in that room, by the way, but for some odd reason, the door was wide open, and that was kind of creepy, because that was the initial room I was supposed to stay at, but they said it was booked and nobody was in there. So I don't know what that was all about. But anyways, Yeah, so definitely check it out, Lumber Baron Inn. Would I go back? For sure, I would go back to Denver, Colorado, and even to check out the Stanley Hotel because that's why I have unfinished business in Colorado. So on my bucket list still, I'm not going to forget about you, Stanley Hotel. So check out the Lumber Baron Inn as well. And that wraps that up. Episode 5. Now, episode 6, by the way, I cannot believe we're in episode 6 already coming up. And that's going to be located in St. Augustine, Florida. Again, that's going to be a part 2. So this time we're going to be, investigating another location, not like episode 1. So, stay tuned because we'll be discussing where the location will be at or the places. So, but it will be in St. Augustine, Florida. So stay tuned on that. Also, we have 3 episodes left. Crazy. 3 episodes left to finish off season 1. And then we're going to jump on to season 2. So stay tuned for that because that's going to be a combination of War Party Paranormal where I'm currently at. So I have not been posting too much of those videos. And I wonder, I have people been hitting me up like, hey, why aren't those videos being posted? You're with War Party Paranormal. And now I'm with their team. Or I joined the team. But the reason why is because I'm saving that for season 2. So stay tuned. So don't forget to hit that button, subscribe and like. That's right. You heard it right. Subscribe and like. Don't forget to hit it. And stay tuned for episode 6. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. Thank you guys again for watching Supernatural Eye. Now I'm going to pass on the mic to Mike. And he is our badass new interviewer for Supernatural Eye. And I can't wait for you guys to see what he has in store. So thank you guys again for watching. Love you guys. Have a good night. Mwah. Bye. And also, don't forget to subscribe and like to Mike's page, Florida Paranormal Researcher, and our new video editor, Eric from Ghost Hunters of South Florida. That's right. Go ahead and check them out. And all my other War Party Paranormal team members, if you scroll down, that's right, look down all the way below to the YouTube channel, and you will see below their links. Go ahead and follow them because they are super badass. And yeah, that is that. Have a good night, guys. Love you. Mwah.
What's going on? This is Mike, Florida Paranormal Researcher, and here at Supernatural Eye, I'm just going to kind of do a little interview. We're going to ask some questions and kind of see if there's anything you remember about the investigation.
Sure.
So your name is?
My name is Zach Malen.
Okay. All right, cool, Zach. So, I'm actually on a team, War Party Paranormal, and Franny's just recently joined us. But these investigations that we're doing the interviews about, these were done before I even met Fran. And so there's really kind of no bias. I wasn't there. I didn't do any investigations with her up until pretty recently. Mm-hmm. So, and this is the first time that we're meeting.
Right. Yep. Good to meet you.
So, yeah, good to meet you. Absolutely. So, like, before you went on the investigation over there, did you believe in the paranormal or anything like that? Or were you going into it more like a skeptical mind?
So, yeah, I've always been pretty skeptical about paranormal, just activities, ghosts, anything like that. I still would say I don't really believe in them, but that's just how I've always been. I kind of need a, in-person experience. Like I need to be actually affected by it for me to kind of believe it, but that's just who I am. So
no, absolutely. Super understandable. Yeah. Now, after the investigation that you did with her, did that change any of your beliefs going in? Like as far as was there anything that happened that like really like kind of you were like, wow, like kind of set you back, like or anything of that nature?
So yeah, from the trip, I believe it was over 4 years ago when it happened. So I don't remember too much, but I would say that the Airbnb was a little creepy feeling, but definitely had a different vibe to it than just a normal Airbnb. But I was never like scared or saw anything out of the abnormal. At least from what I remember.
And like when you were there, like you didn't feel more weirded out or anything kind of going on. in one area more than the other, or was it just like a general kind of like spooky kind of feeling?
It was, I mean, I would say that the bedrooms felt a little weirder. I mean, it was just, yeah, I mean, I would say it was, yeah, like I said, kind of a weirder vibe, weirder feeling, but yeah, nothing substantial to like change, my mind to say I believe in ghosts or anything like that. The problem is the rooms that I guess that we tried to go in that had the most activity got booked out or something like that. So we went into rooms that pretty much didn't have any activity, I guess. So yeah.
And so I understand you guys were originally supposed to go check out and do an investigation at the Stanley Hotel.
Mhm.
And for some reason that didn't pan out. And then you guys ended up checking out this haunted bed and breakfast.
Mhm.
Now, were you like disappointed that you couldn't go to the Stanley Hotel, or were you cool either way, or like what was your feeling on that?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been cool to maybe change my beliefs, if we went to, I mean, even if we got those haunted or so-called haunted rooms at the Airbnb, might have changed my mind. I don't even remember us honestly having planned to go to the Stanley Hotel, but I mean, I guess I wasn't too bummed about it because I don't remember.
Yeah, hard to be bummed about it if yeah, you don't really
Yeah.
remember it so much. So um would you do another investigation? Like, are you open to doing it again, or like after doing the first one, you were just like kind of like, it's not for me?
I mean, yeah, I'd consider doing it again. Yeah, like I said, it definitely had a weird feel to it, and since I don't believe it, make me a believer, I guess. And yeah, I would definitely go on another investigation and see what it's about.
So just a little thing about me, like I kind of agree. I was always fascinated by the paranormal and things of that couldn't be explained,
Mhm.
and that kind of is what drew me to it because I was fascinated by it. But I'm
Right.
also like a guy of science. I'm an electronics tech by trade. I enjoy tinkering with electronics and the unknown. So when you put that together, but my first couple investigations, I went to it like completely skeptical,
Right.
and I still look at things at a skeptical point of view. So I totally get that.
Right. No, it's good.
It was a long time in doing investigations until I seen things that really changed my mind about it. And like I said, I still look at things in a skeptical point of view. Um, Sorry, I'm just I
Oh,
kind of
no,
had
you're
some
good.
notes here.
Check out the notes.
So being that it was a while back, I mean, trying to remember, when was there anybody else in your group that was kind of frightened of the area or frightened of what you guys were doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Honestly, I mean, yeah, everyone that went on the trip were my good friends, and I didn't think anyone else in the group really, other than Fran, was had a skeptical feeling or felt scared at one point. I think my buddy Tyler maybe said he felt or saw something creepy at one point. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that was, yeah, maybe just him. But the person I was with, no, we didn't experience anything like that.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Now, do you recall any of the equipment that you guys used or any of the devices or anything of that nature? I mean, some investigators they use a lot of different equipment. Some don't. Some kind of go in and
Mhm.
kind of see if they're sensitive and things like that. They'll kind of go in and use mostly feeling and kind of look at things that way and look for stuff visual, more of a feeling. Now, if you guys were using equipment during the investigation, do you remember anything or how they worked or what they did or anything that you might be able to describe to me?
Yeah, so it's a little foggy. I'm pretty sure that because Fran actually had EVP'd one of the rooms at my old house, and I've edited some of her videos, but I'm pretty sure that an EVP was used in both rooms that we were in just to check them out. I don't think, at least to my memory, there was any kind of detection of anything at all there. And I do know that I believe she recorded like overnight or something when they were sleeping, or had something recording going on for a while. And I don't think I ever saw that footage. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, that's as far as I remember, that there was no detection of it. There might have been like one, spike of something somewhere when she would ask a certain question or something like that, but it wasn't anything substantial.
Nothing that just really like embedded, like, wow, that was like just mind blowing. Nothing like of that nature for you per se at the time when you were with her during the investigation. Do you remember capturing any EVPs, or did you get anything that sounded that could be an EVP on a recorder or anything of that nature? Or were you not playing them back right then? It would go back, review it, and hear it on the computer and kind of analyze it and look at it that way. Did you capture anything that you're aware of?
Yeah, no, not that I'm aware of. I believe that we did record and we didn't play it back right there. I think Fran might have checked it out sometime of that trip, but I think that when we got back is when she kind of analyzed the recordings or, the info that she got. But yeah, I don't remember any playback though.
And did you hear anything after she had it on the computer or played it back for you or anything like that? Did you get to hear anything like that or capture anything? Or
I don't remember hearing it. Sorry.
No
it was
worries,
a long time ago. So.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, do you like a lot of times when I investigate, or I'll go with our team and we'll do an investigation, I try not to know much of the history, right? Like I want to go in blind, see what we capture, analyze, the evidence or activity that we caught during the investigation, and then see if it coincides with the history. Some people are different. They want to know all the history so they could use it to try to trigger a response. I like going in kind of blind and then seeing if anything lines up afterwards. Did you know the history of this bed and breakfast or this inn before going in?
I knew nothing at all about it.
just knew that it was supposedly haunted or supposedly had some paranormal stuff going on.
Yeah, I don't even remember like looking it up. Maybe we looked it up on the way there. But yeah, I don't even, no.
and this is for, it was the Lumber Baron Inn in Denver, Colorado. And I honestly haven't heard of it. There's so many, places, it's hard to, so I kind of checked it out and just did a little research right before, we were doing this. So I kind of knew what I was talking about a little bit. And supposedly there was 2 young girls that lived there that were, in the early 1900s and were brutally murdered in one of the rooms and found. And there was never a suspect or anybody tried or charged, and they closed the case, and nobody ever found out who or why.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, I vaguely remember that, but I feel like Fran maybe told us that, or we looked it up on the way, but yeah, I was pretty blind going in overall though.
Yeah, for sure. If you had, have you ever seen any of our content from War Party online or anything like that?
I have not, no.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no worries, man. So yeah, definitely, if you ever have time, check it out, man. We got some pretty amazing stuff that might
change my mind. Hit me.
Maybe. Yeah, definitely. And if you were like to come back out and maybe do an investigation with us, where we know that we've captured stuff and captured some crazy activity, would you be? And we've had places where people have been touched and things like that. Would you be willing to come on out?
Yeah, I'd probably be down for that. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, man. It's
I'm not scared. Probably would get scared if it happened, but yeah.
For me personally, I never got scared of it or like freaked out. I think some of it is, some of the stuff you see on TV might be a little over dramatized.
Right, yeah, exaggerated.
It doesn't frighten me. I'm not going to say I don't get startled. Like if I heard something, I'll be like, I get startled. But like hearing a crazy clear EVP, I get more excited like that we captured it than scared or frightened.
Right.
But yeah, it's a really neat experience, man, and definitely. Do you have anything that you want to add, or do you have any memorable moments like from the trip regarding anything as far as the investigation goes? I mean, like just leading up to the investigation, or like going out there and going somewhere that you knew was haunted or possibly haunted. Anything that was memorable for you?
So I will say not from that trip to Colorado, but it was a little, I don't know if I would say like creepy, but it was really interesting and I don't know, I guess surprising. But when Fran EVP'd, so I guess in the house that we were living in before, somebody had like died in that room or something like that, and I didn't even know that. No, none of us knew that. But Fran had was doing an EVP in the house just for fun. Came over and we were all hanging out. I think it was like me, her, and her friend. Might have been someone else there too. I think one of my friends. But either way, we went in the room. I guess where supposedly this person had died, and she started asking some questions. The EVP was moving a little bit, nothing too crazy. And then,
well, I'm sorry, I don't mean to stop you. You mean EMF, like a K2 meter or something? Like
EMF, yeah. It's like when she would ask a question and it would, get green or whatever it is. Yeah,
okay.
like something like that. Yeah. So sorry, EMF.
No worries.
Yeah. So EMF. And oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just asking. Like, so that seemed like you were possibly getting an intelligent response.
So yeah, it seemed like it was pretty cool. It's interesting. I was like, oh, okay. So she'd ask a question. First, it was a little slow, but then she'd ask a question, spike up, go down. Then like, maybe she'd ask something like, if you are a ghost, like don't respond, and then there would be nothing. And then she'd say, okay, like now she'd ask something else, and to make the ghost or whatever was in the room talk, and then it spiked up again, and it actually did that consecutively a good amount of times, to the point where Fran's friend said screw this and got out of the room and was scared by it. And I was like, okay, that was pretty crazy. Like, Fran couldn't have planned that one out, or anything like that. And then to find out later,
sure.
And then to find out later that someone actually had died in that room, which we had no idea. That was the room of the house where that person had died. So I'm not like a total non-believer, but that was the only time, where I was like, okay, maybe I go on some more, see if it's realistic at all. And then when we went to Colorado to the Airbnb, there was nothing there that really, caught my attention.
And the way that I kind of describe it is like it's almost like fishing in a way. Yeah. I mean, and what I've seen is that a lot of these times these ghosts or spirits or whatnot, they're not trained monkeys. They are people that I believe at this point, and they're not always at the same spot. They do move, and sometimes you'll go and the place will be extremely active. Sometimes you'll go and it's not active, and it doesn't really seem to be any real rhyme or reason to it that we've narrowed down to, like, but that's kind of what it seems like to me. I kind of explain it like fishing. It's either it's hot or it's not. It definitely would have been cool if you could have maybe captured some more stuff there. But I really appreciate you answering all these questions and being on here with me and doing all this. And do you have any questions that you want to ask me or anything about anything that you might have a question about as far as the paranormal world?
Sure. I mean, I guess I'll just ask you, what's the craziest thing that you think you've encountered?
Oh boy. I would say by far the craziest thing that to me still to this day is a disembodied voice. Are you familiar with what that is?
Maybe a little bit, but I mean, you can explain it if you want.
So a disembodied voice is a little different than like an EVP or something like that you would capture on a recording. It's actually something that you can hear with your ear.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like an actual voice, like in a room where there is no other human being.
Yeah.
And there is no explanation. And that always just blows my mind it's very rare, but when we do capture them, there was a couple times where one of my team members, a good buddy of mine, Joe, that we were completely alone and have heard like something, and I've been like, "You say something?" And he'd be like, "No, man, I didn't say anything." And then we would review the camera footage,
Yeah.
and you could hear it, and it's not either one of us, and it's there, and it's captured on video. That by far to me is the most crazy, unexplained things that have happened to me, disembodied voices.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's definitely pretty cool, pretty creepy. So
Anything like that where it's just, it's there, there's no disputing it. There was a voice, it was a sentence, you can make it out, it's intelligible, and it was in that space, so that's always pretty cool. But awesome, man. And like I said, if you or anybody that's watching wants to kind of check out some of our content, I go by Florida Paranormal Researcher on Instagram, my social media stuff, YouTube, obviously FLA, Paranormal Researcher, and I'm part, and Franny is now part of War Party Paranormal. We have about 30 team members, and we hold a lot of public events where we have guests that'll come out with us, and we do interactive ghost hunts, and we raise money for the Historical Society. So yeah, it's very, very neat, man. Hey, I appreciate your time, and have a good night, my man.
all right, thanks, Mike. Yeah, take care.
And it was very good meeting you.
Yeah, good meeting you as well. Cheers.
Cheers.
Walking, waiting, alone without a care, hoping and hating the things that I can't bear.